So Edelweiss is a stock that has in any case doubled this year, expected to perhaps move higher, now 1.5%. But Mayuresh Joshi of Angel Broking is also with us. Mayuresh, the pocket that has seen the highest amount of movements these days is the auto space. So stocks like Eicher Motors are sitting at new highs. From autos and auto ancillaries, so what would your top preferred picks be now?
Morning, Sonia. So again, I think we've seen a humongous move in terms of how the price movement for all these stocks have been. You name it, two-wheelers, four-wheelers, or even the auto ancillary names. And largely, I think if one really goes by the entire theme of monsoons and the pay commission recommendations, festive season coming around, a lot will get pushed through in terms of dealer inventory at the end of this quarter. But largely, I think the volumes that we've witnessed over the last 2 years, I think the markets are coming to a point where volumes will now go at a pace of around 10 to 12% to say the least for two-wheelers. For four-wheelers again, specifically in the case of Maruti, we had seen a growth of 5 to 6% in terms of volumes over the last 2 to 3 years. This is all changing with new products coming through, new platforms coming through, and with better models even in spite of competition. I think they've still held on both through their average selling prices as well as their margins. So largely, I think if investors are holding on to stocks like Maruti, Tata Motors, continue holding on to these stocks, there can be significant gain in terms of what we can see in terms of earnings outlook over the next few years. And even in terms of the two-wheeler space, my own sense is anybody holding on stocks like a Hero Motor and Eicher Motor should continue holding on, because the volumes that we are probably going to witness even at 10-12% or the better part of the next few quarters with new launches coming through, my own sense is that the earnings probably will improve. Whether valuations are justifiable, I think valuations might look expensive at this point of time for all these players, but largely I think once the earnings trajectory starts coming on a more stable base over the next few quarters and sustains, I think the markets might re-rate these stocks. So a clear hold on all these stocks, and a disclaimer, we might be holding these stocks in the schemes.
Anuj, I think while you spoke about private banks, I wouldn't be surprised if public sector banks do better because of that bond point I told you. There could be bond gains for these, because you're calling a long-term lower yield globally, and that might have a salutary impact as well, of course, for SBI, the NSE stake.
And Hero Motocorp, the stock that we discussed in the morning as well, this market will reward those who buy strong stocks in correction or consolidation, and that's been the point. For the last 2 or 3 days, you have seen some of these auto stocks correct. Auto and banks have been the leaders of this market. These two sectors will bounce back the most today, and that's a bit of an easy trade as well. I mean, even if they have a bit of a gap up, won't hurt you. I mean, if you look at some of these stocks.
You said this market will reward those who buy strong stocks. At the moment, it is rewarding anyone who buys stocks. I mean, look at the advanced declines. Again, we are speaking about pre-market. It's bids, it's not trades. But it is 15 green for one in the red. So this is a market that seems to be rewarding just about anyone who buys stocks. Mayuresh, what are really your top picks at this juncture? The market looks like it will race to 9,000 in a hurry. What could be the leaders of this game?
So again, Lata, I think if you look at the way the data points are panning out, I think private sector banks definitely seem to be back in focus. And again, the kind of earnings growth that one really expects them to post over the next few quarters, with credit growth expected to be in double digits, with credit costs coming down, asset quality pressures probably receding, and that probably having an say in how their spreads and NIMs probably pan out. I think that is going to have a significant say in terms of their earnings parameters. So larger private sector banks like HDFC Bank, Axis Bank is something that we still probably have a positive view about. You should still continue holding if you're holding from the lower levels. From the cyclicals, again, I think cement as a pack is something that I've liked for a long period of time. I continue liking that, though Q2 might be a blip because of the monsoons that we've seen and some moderation in terms of dispatches and realizations probably staying muted. But largely over the next few quarters, as utilization levels pick up, the return ratios will improve. The realizations expected to pick up as well in that sense, because demand probably is going to outstrip the kind of supply dynamics that you're seeing at this point of time. So Ultratech, if somebody is holding, clearly hold on. Mid-cap stocks like JK Lakshmi, Mangalam is something that you should hold on if you're holding on to these stocks. But largely, I think stocks that we're probably liking at this point of time would be something like a VST tiller on declines. Our own sense is that with good monsoons coming through, the tiller sales will show a good pace of growth going ahead as well, anywhere between 11 to 12% in terms of volume growth, and realization should have reasonable amount of improvement as well. Cash-rich balance sheet of 148 crores, working capital cycle constrained at around 90 odd days, expected to come down, and largely cash flows expected to be anywhere between 60 to 70 odd crores, which will lead to an EBITDA margin expansion expansion of anywhere between 2 to 3% over the next couple of years. So VST tillers is something that I'll probably like from the agri-based theme over the next few quarters in terms of an earnings parameter as well.
Oh yes, in fact all the tractor names, not just VST tillers but Escorts, M&M have all been doing very well, and there's an expectation that November, December will be a much better phase for these tractor makers. By the way, in pre-opening, one more stock to look at is Syngene. There's positive data coming in over there. It has acquired the assets of Strand Life Sciences, and that stock up almost about 6%. By the way, that's the bond market opening as well that you're seeing on your screen. But for now, the market is suggesting that it's going to be a roaring up move today. So 260 points higher on the Sensex, and the Nifty could score a century just in the initial moments of trade. So let's do one thing. As we wait for the market opening, let's get you a word from Bill Gross of Janus Capital on the Fed's move and the impact it could have on the equity markets.
I'm choked with emotion and hardly able to speak. After hawkish talk at Jackson Hole from Yellen and Stan Fisher, who even said, there'd be 2 hikes in 2016, they've chosen to defer once more a necessary hike to normalize short-term interest rates and provide savers. They've flattened the curve because now bond markets expect a lower long-term Fed funds rate, and therefore long-term yields will flatten relative to short-term yields. It's very confusing, especially relative to what the Bank of Japan did.
Okay, that's a lot of people who are bashing up the Fed for not hiking rates when the economy was crying out for it, according to them. Markets 8873, so it does look 8850 will be taken with relative ease. A 1% gain on the Nifty is how the markets will open, but look at the Bank Nifty. It's almost a 2% gain that index looks like starting, and that may not be the best bank gainer. It could well be the PSU banks as well. SBI, of course, also going to gain from the stake that it has in NSE now that share is getting priced higher. Chandan, did we discuss all your stocks? Anything left out?
I think we have discussed about the Nifty and the Bank Nifty levels. Nifty now holding above 8850 may start the fresh leg of rally, which may take it to new 52 weeks high of 8968 and then step towards new lifetime high. Only one trade that is on the negative side is the Bata India. Because of the market momentum, the stock may open positive, so one can use the advantage of the bounce back move and sell the stock on bounce back move with a stop loss of 525. Looking at the entire price structure, the stock has potential to again go down, and in that decline it can again go towards 490 level, but one is to follow the strict stop loss and sell only on bounce back move as the broader market is now turning positive.
Okay, but 20,150 on Bank Nifty, and I tell you why that is significant, because today you have the weekly options expiry as well, and a lot of calls build up at 20,000. All of those will have to be unwound because of that, especially on the writing side. It could be a really big day for the Bank Nifty, Lata, today. 320 points higher, could be a 500-point day on the Bank Nifty because of the way positions have, traders would get stuck at higher levels.
Okay, apart from the Bank Nifty, 2 more stocks that you'd want to keep on your radar. Asian Paints is one stock that's now just about 3% away from its all-time high. So Asian Paints is one stock moving up higher now, and cement, which was everybody's favorite buy before the volatility began, is also starting to move up. So Ultratech Cement is just about 2-3% away from its all-time highs. It could resume that as well today. Mayuresh, what are your thoughts on Asian Paints at this price of 1180, considering that consumption is the space to be in? Would you put any fresh money to work here in this sector?
So again, largely, Sonia, if you look at valuations that Asian Paint has already derived, it's always derived premium valuations both to its peers and to what the Sensex and Nifty have been trading at. Having said that, probably in terms of what trends we're probably seeing both in terms of urban as well as semi-urban and rural areas, the repainting demand is expected to come back in a significant manner. Again, I think I would like to stick my neck out by saying that if I have to stay within the paint sector itself, it's better staying with the market leaders. Asian Paints is the market leader in the decorative paint segment, and the expectations of volume growth probably staying stable and then picking on over the next few quarters looks quite reasonable even at these levels. One can still argue that input costs are still benign, and that is what is leading to margin expansion. But my own sense is as demand volumes come back, I think that leverage on the balance sheet starts playing out very meaningfully. So though valuations might look very expensive, this is one stock that I'll still probably like within the entire space going ahead as well.
Okay. Thanks for that, Mayuresh. Sudarshan, in fact, I would welcome views from all of you. The banking stocks, SBI, ICICI, PNB, all of them charging higher today, and IDBI. What's the best chart, or are all of them worth the play, Sudarshan?
Well, it would be ICICI Bank. My inclination remains towards private sector banks, and the best private sector banks are going to do very well.
Okay, Mitesh?
I think, from a good trading point of view, what we have seen is some consolidation in the PSU bank. So maybe, over there, I think if we get a gap up and some kind of buy signal on the intraday charts, I'll focus on them. Notably, I think PNB, Oriental Bank of Commerce, and Bank of India.
Prakash?
I'll go for IndusInd Bank. That looks good too.
Okay, well, we still have about 50 seconds left for the markets to open, and it looks like it's going to be a very strong opening. We told you that metals could also be one pocket that could be on the upside. Hindalco is one of your top gainers. Prakash, any quick thoughts on how to approach Hindalco, Tata Steel, any trades?
Well, Hindalco, basically, I think certainly is... No, I think I'll miss it.
Okay, your chart is not obliging. We will get to. Well, Sudarshan, you want to take a jab on the metal stocks?
Well, Tata Steel is the best of the lot. Hindalco's sharp rally has told us that a consolidation is most likely, while Tata Steel is giving the sense that a much higher break level is coming. A bullish pattern is now in place. So I would go for Tata Steel. And the second would be Jindal Steel.
Okay. Coming to you in a minute, Sudarshan, let's see whether the market genuinely has an early Diwali. It does. It's 8876. That's the first tick. The next tick is better. It's 8879, now. So 8875 comfortably. Now 8880. So 1.2% higher. The Nifty is, the Sensex is high, all of 340 points. 343 was also touched. So 28,850 maintained with ease. But the Bank Nifty takes the honors. It's up 2.2%. That index is up 414 points, and Anuj warned you adequately that that's where a lot of gains will come. Hindalco is the top gainer with a 4% uptick. Bharti Infratel, Bank of Baroda, Yes Bank, ICICI Bank, SBI are all up 3%, between 3 and 3.5%. Hero Moto 2.25%, BHEL 2.25%, Bajaj Auto 2.25%, IndusInd Bank as well 2%, Axis 2%. Tata Steel, I guess everything is up between 1 and 2%. There's nothing less than that. Nothing in the red except for Wipro HUL, which actually should count as flat. And they are flitting in and out of the green, as it were. HUL probably belaboring because it's more like a defensive, and it's got that Morgan Stanley underweight call. But otherwise, there's really nothing red. It's 49 on 50 or 48 on 50 that is in the green. Actually, it's the big caps which are leading from the front, but the mid caps are hardly far behind.
Oh yes, it's a fabulous start to trade. So 1,000 stocks on the advancing side right now. A lot of large caps hitting new highs today. HDFC Bank is at a fresh high above that 1300 mark now. Maruti Suzuki has hit 5600, so a fresh high there. Eicher Motors has hit 24,500, so a new high over there. Bajaj Finserv is virtually at the 3200 mark, so a fresh high on Bajaj Finserv as well. Maruti. In terms of, yes, Maruti that I mentioned just a while back. Also, Syngene is the stock of the moment in the broader markets, 8% higher on the back of the news flow that we told you about. And a couple of more stocks that have just entered into the F&O space, IDFC Bank, DCB Bank, Torrent Power are also in focus. But very good start, Anuj. Very good start.
And as discussed, Bank Nifty could well be a 500-point rally today. It's almost 450 at open and now 400. Now the issue here is this opening is way higher than what the SGX Nifty was indicating. What do you do here? By the way, some news. Dilli Raj has resigned from Bharat Financial Inclusion.
I think that will be very positive on the stock.
Exactly.
For too long, the company was defending, and now if Dilli Raj is
exactly, it was always likely, but it's happened now. So 2.5% higher on that stock now. But now the key here is what happens now. What do you do now? My sense is the market will still give you intraday dip. One intraday dip that if you buy, and if you see at 10 a.m. if the market is higher than the morning gap up, then you are in for a trend day where you will definitely close at the high point of the day. A lot will depend on Europe opening, but we have now left behind the consolidation. The expansion phase has begun, and you'll see that now playing out.
Okay, let's take it to our tech gurus and get your fresh buys one by one or any other fresh calls. Sudarshan, it is an 8880 opening. you would advise even those who don't have long positions. I don't think there will be too many traders by that in that category, but they still go long. What are the fresh targets?
Well, yeah, there are no targets. We just let the momentum be with us. If you are long, I think you should still maintain your long positions, and it is worthwhile going long now. You could buy October options, call options, and therefore to that extent make it easier for you to buy the Nifty. There is for the Bank Nifty and Nifty, we just expect that this momentum should continue, and for all we know, we could be looking at new highs, not this week, but soon enough.
The HDFC twins are rallying, Sudarshan, and HDFC Bank has hit a new high. In fact, the market cap is now almost 3.5 lakh crores. What is your view on how to trade these two names, HDFC and HDFC Bank?
Oh, they are my favorites in this current uptrend, both of them. You should be, if you are looking at individual stocks, you can buy any of the two, HDFC or HDFC Bank, and it should outperform the Nifty.
Okay. Mitesh, anything that has swum into your radar?
Yeah, I think HDFC and HDFC Bank, as Sudarshan just mentioned, I think I also like them. We've just given a buy call on HDFC Bank to our clients as well, with a stop at 12.99 for targets of 13.45. That apart, I think I also like Asian Paints. I think that's showing a good gap out and a continuation kind of pattern. So Asian Paints, I would buy this one with a stop at 11.65 for targets in excess of 12.10.
All right. Well, the stock of the moment really is Bharat Financial, because that's surging now almost 4% higher. The company has informed the exchange that S. Dilli Raj, the president of the company, who was on leave for 2 months, remember, has now resigned from the services with effect from the 21st of September. And Mr. M.R. Rao, the managing director and CEO of the company, who was additionally overseeing Mr. Dilli Raj, will continue to oversee the function. So that overhang is out of the way and the stock is up 3.5%. PH Ravi Kumar, the non-executive chairman of Bharat Financial, joins us now to talk about that. Mr. Ravi Kumar, can you...
Joining us anyways today. Okay, so that's Bharat Financial. The stock moves up a bit more after this decision from Mr. Dilli Raj. Markets, just once again to cast your eye, have not given up an inch in the first 10 minutes after having a roaring start of over 1.2%. They have continued to maintain their gains. The Bank Nifty at one point was 2% higher, now 1.8. That's not giving up much at all. And it's the metal stocks that are leading the charge at this point in time. But the banks are not far behind. Yes Bank is the stock that's leading the charge from the banking space. But yeah, you can even see Bank of Baroda, SBI, all of them up and about today.
The broader market stocks are really surging now, Lata. So, a lot of these names, I mean, look at something like a Prabhat Dairy. It's up almost about 3-4 odd percent. Syngene is your big mover, up almost about 6-7% right now. And a whole host of other non-index large caps are looking very good. Sudarshan, any fresh strategies on your list now after the opening tick?
Well, the fresh strategies are primarily for the private sector banks and financials. I have already spoken about HDFC, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, and I think apart from M&M Finance, LIC Housing is also a buying opportunity.
Okay, well, so...
Prakash, sorry, has your laptop responded? Any fresh buys?
Yes, I like two. I think BPCL certainly is looking good to me. One could have a stop below 585 or so, 586. On the upside, the target could be in the vicinity of 607. I also like MTech Auto, looks good here, can cap to levels closer to around 48, stop below 46. Infosys is showing some signs that it can climb up from here. So I would say a deeper stop is required, 1051, because trading, not right, just a short swap. And maybe on the upside we could see levels closer to 105. It's more of a very aggressive trade here. Could go.
Well, Anuj, you were saying.
Yeah, the small cap index has hit a lifetime high today. I mean, let's not forget that. So yes, the broader market is always going to go there much before that. The BSE small cap index has actually hit a new lifetime high in trade today. That point should not be forgotten. Yes, the Sensex Nifty and the Bank Nifty will also get there at some point, but for now it's the small cap index which has gone there. The volumes are very high in the first tick. That's because of the weekly options expiry and short covering, and of course the Bank Nifty is still key to track. So that was the point that I wanted to make.
Okay. Well,
I think our charters have given us a bunch of cues. Okay, I think Mitesh, we didn't ask you any other fresh cues that you are watching, any fresh stocks?
I think I actually do like BPCL. I think Prakash just mentioned that, so I don't have anything fresh. But yeah, I think I have similar kind of target, 606, and then once it crosses that, even 630. So I would be buying here and possibly adding on to positions beyond 606. And currently, if somebody wants to buy, the stop price should be around 588.
Okay, well, a couple of these infrastructure stocks are also surging now. Sadbhav Infra is up almost 10% right now. Volumes are not very high, but the stock is at a new 52-week high, Sadbhav Infra. So just pull that stock chart up for you. Central Bank of India is the other one that is looking quite good, so 5% higher on that. I mean, anything and everything is rallying, but these are just some outperformers in terms of price and volume action. So 300 points higher now. Prakash, any thoughts on how to approach, some of these stocks that have been hitting newer highs, names like, say, an Eicher Motors. MRF is at a new high today, 44,000 plus on that. Would you take any fresh positions here?
One could continue long, Sonia. Even Eicher is a stock that I recommend today, but when the stock makes a new high, it displays strength and say why put a ceiling on it. So Eicher Motors, like I said, can climb to levels closer around 25,000 or so. It looks like it's an appointment there. It can go even higher from there. But MRF could be some kind of profit booking coming in, because I don't like the last 3 days of an up move. Though it looks up, I would buy here.
Okay, the market is giving you that first intraday dip. I mean, if you want to call it a dip, because if you look at
a 7-point or a 10-point.
No, it's 25 points off the day's high for the Nifty now. 25 points. If it is a trend day, 25 points is a lot. If it's a trend day, which is the market again reclaims the high. So it's fallen a bit at the Nifty level, and even the Sensex has fallen a bit. So this now will be the test between now and 10 a.m. if this very minor morning dip gets bought. So that I think would be the bigger test. But Sudarshan, for the day, at what point would you initiate fresh buying on the Nifty?
No, I don't think I would trade on for the day. If there is a dip you haven't bought, then you can use this dip to buy for a few days. That is a swing trade. It's very difficult to identify day trading. But if there is a midday consolidation, and which say 12 o'clock is the slog hour, during that period, if there is a consolidation, that's a day trading buy.
Okay, actually some cats and dogs are also rising, and we have to be wary about that. Look, for instance, GTL Infra, IVRCL, several penny stocks, even JP, HDIL, even that stock, I mean that's not penny, but you can see some of the weary stocks also rising. So this one is taking all boats higher, and you have to be wary of what you're playing.
There are some stocks that are, making a bit of a bottom formation as well. Ashok Leyland is one of them. It's been a couple of days now that Ashok Leyland has been rallying. Today the stock is up almost about 1.5%. So do keep an eye out on that. And Edelweiss is the other one because of the news flow. That stock too is up almost about 1.5% or so. But let's do one thing, since the market has settled with a gain of around 300 odd points. Before we await as we await our market master, let's get you some opinion from the former Fed Reserve members on what they have made of the Fed's move. We'll come back.
I'd been hoping they could make the decision to move, but in the last week and a half, all of the major indices were negative. It provided them with a very awkward backdrop. Industrial production was down, capacity utilization was down, retail sales were down. Both IMS surveys showed significant decline. It just sort of created an awkward moment for them. 2 weeks ago, the data looked fine, but in the last week and a half, it just didn't allow them to do it.
It's always, but there's always an excuse. There's always some uncertainty. There's always something we don't know, something that could be lurking. And so I think, we've seen enough strength in the labor market. I think it's probably better to move sooner rather than later. I mean, I think, will the world end if it's September versus December? Certainly not. But I think I'd prefer to get on a path for normalization sooner rather than later.